Cronos by W. A. Blinko. It's easy to get lost in the depths of space if you're not tethered down, but the risk presents an opportunity for the brave or foolish. Salvage vessels would spend months to years combing the expanse, chasing dreams. The Star Grazer, with its highly trained crew, was a mixture of veterans and newcomers, all eager for the prize. The ping from the radar screamed opportunity. Captain Cronos, her weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of the console, addressed her crew. "To your stations! This could be our payday." Excitement filled the ship. It was too soon to know exactly what had been detected, but the mere thought of potential riches motivated the crew. This could be the one, Cronos pondered. Her lifelong search for answers could be over. As the Star Grazer moved closer, the derelict loomed larger, a great silent titan glistening amongst unknown stars. Cronos studied the pitted hull, scanning for clues. Where did she come from? Why was she resting here? The resting shell showed no signs why it had fallen. Cronos paused, her experience starting to sow doubts, but she couldn't confirm them, so persisted. Cronos had never come across a vessel as old as this. As she joined the rest of the crew in preparing to search the wreck, she watched the crew members' motivations surface. Trev, the calm engineer, always wanted to retire on Prima Sigma, but could never afford it. Lara, her comms officer, was heavily into her history and relished exploring new sections of the galaxy, hoping to discover that once-in-a-lifetime artifact or proof that aliens existed. And finally Smiler, her stoic, hulking security officer, who never smiled. But maybe if the price was big enough, he might change his expression. The size of the wreck this time brought a sense of hope to all of them. Could this be the one? Working as a team, it didn't take long for them to gain access into the hulk, bypassing security locks and prying open the hatch with power tools. The ship's life support was barely operating. Cronos felt the tension amongst her crew, a mix of anticipation and fear. Hoping that only surprise they would discover would bring them joy, they continued into the unknown. The derelict ship was eerily silent. Emergency lights flickered, barely lighting the way ahead. Condensation was semi-frosted over viewports that appeared to stretch ahead. With each step breaking the silence, Cronos started to doubt her decision, but she couldn't end everyone else's dream on her hunch. It was still unclear what the ship was in its prime. It didn't matter what it was in its past, though. Pushing forward, Cronos led the group to the bridge. She needed the log details to make the claim, standard procedure, but the further they ventured, the less standard things become. Patterns in the frost appeared. At first no one thought anything of them. A symbol caught Smiler's eye, noticing how it remained illuminated after he shone a torch on it. Lara examined, realizing more symbols began to shine. Cronos barked at her crew to move forward to the bridge. The temperature of the bridge plummeted. Solid ice covered the console. Lara looked at the receiver and began downloading log entries as best as she could without corrupting them. Scanning them, she relayed details to the rest of the crew. Slowly a picture began to build. The logs told how the crew began to go mad. Sinister whispers calling and teasing them slowly turned them on each other. The ship descended into a bloodbath. Cronos could feel her heart thumping, swallowing hard as the group looked blankly at one another. Tension rising, Cronos realized that she had made a terrible mistake. A faint wind began to whistle, soft like a whisper. Smiler glanced at the back of the bridge. Following the sound, Lara looked towards the air vents, her ears pricked. The crew, their faces pale with growing terror, exchanged uneasy glances. Cronos ordered everybody back to her ship. The whispers grew as more and more voices joined in. Lara was able to pick out words. The ship wasn't going to let them go. The cold began to seep into their bones, slowing them down. The air thinned out, making it harder for them to breathe. The voices grew louder, demanding all sorts of terrors. Shadows began to appear. Cronos did her best to urge her crew on. With a lack of oxygen, hallucinations merged with shadowy figures, grotesque and distorted, reaching out from the darkness. Smiler yelled directions, pushing the crew on in his calm voice. It was reassuring. Cronos looked back. The shadows were reaching out to her, unable to distinguish reality from the nightmarish vision. Shadows relentlessly chasing after them. Cronos felt her back slam against the wall and the door. It flashed closed before her. With a rumble of thunder, the derelict began to fade into the distance. Cronos looked up at Smiler. You weren't affected, were you? No, Sylvanans have. We're used to thin atmosphere, so my body doesn't need the oxygen levels that yours does. That's good to know. Yes, it is, he replied with a broad grin. That's it for this episode of Cronos. Let me know if you'd like another one in the comments box below. And if you're enjoying yourself here, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. It will help the channel grow and we can build a really good community all centered around the Prycon universe. Speaking of the Prycon universe, if you haven't done so already, you can find my books available on all good ebook platforms. Just look for W.A. Blinko. And if you want to find out a little bit more about me, then why not check out my website, wayneblinko.com. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and I'll be back very soon with some more stories. Thanks for listening.